Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my thoughts on the first season of Supergirl. And yeah, I'm a bit late to this party. Of course, the first season of Supergirl aired on CBS before it eventually transitioned over onto the CW for season 2 onward into the present. Yeah, so I've been working at the show for quite some time, watching it in spurts. And when it initially came out, I was a bit hesitant. It just seemed a bit too kind of bright and cheery for my taste, a bit on the nose with some aspects and themes. But it was like quite a while ago I decided to actually sit down and watch the first episode in full, and I was like, I actually got pleasure from that. I actually enjoyed the first episode of Supergirl. And me, I'm watching like 6 shows at a time, so it's taken me a while, but not through fault of the show, because just to be straight up with it, I honestly really, really enjoyed and even loved the first season of Supergirl, which I'm still kind of surprised to say, but it's the truth. I really liked the first season of Supergirl, loved it at times. And to be completely honest, I think it's it's a part of the CW Arrowverse now, so I think it's the best first season of any of those shows. That's it. It has stiff competition from the first season of Arrow, which I was pretty engaged with. I was into Arrow for the first 2-3-ish seasons, and kind of when they brought Slade back a couple seasons later. But after that, I kind of just watched it just to see Stephen Amell before it ended and such. But Arrow kind of went off the rails. I enjoyed Legends of Tomorrow for the first 3 or so seasons, but their first season was definitely a little bit uneven. Never got into the Flash too much. So for me, surprisingly so, I think Supergirl, even in its first season, came off as the most consistent and focused for what it was going for. Honestly, like that same like brightness and positivity and everything I was talking about from the show, it's kind of infectious. It makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel good. Watching the show, I'm into a variety of things. Okay, I can watch a horror show, I can watch a very serious, gritty drama, then I can watch something like Supergirl. Which isn't a knock on the show. It's just it's meant to be full of hope and love and stuff like that. So it's what it is. But that's not to say it doesn't have its emotional baggage with it too. Of course, the characters still feel like characters generally. The first episode was good. The first few episodes I think were kind of finding its footing, but still enjoyable. And after that, I think it really found a nice niche, and I really got into it a lot. It kind of goes without saying, but Melissa Benoist, I think she is so excellent as Kara Danvers, Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, whatever you want to call her. I think she is just terrific. She nails the vulnerability to the character. I believe her when she finds that determination and, shows the kind of hero she can be. And, I like her as the, mild-mannered, quirky, somewhat klutz, Kara Danvers she portrays. Which isn't completely false, because it's kind of a manifestation of her own still inner insecurities and stuff like that. So I think she really does a great job with every facet of the character. Glasses on or glasses off. Chyler Lee as Alex, her Earth sister. I'm surprised how capable she is in the role. A bit of physicality to her. I can take her seriously. It kind of felt weird where her place in the show was at first, but I think it, she rose to it pretty quickly. The writing did as well. Mitch Ed Brooks as Jimmy Olsen. I think it's a little odd at first, a little bit on the nose, making Jimmy Olsen basically like a hunk, or whatever you want to call him, because typically like 9 times out of 10, as far as 10 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure Jimmy Olsen is usually portrayed as like a, dweeby or, supposed nerd, that kind of thing. But instead they turn him into like a very attractive, guy, tall and, fit and everything. So it's a bit, okay, I kind of see what they're doing there. They want to have a, hot male on the show as far as the main cast, but he's likable, he feels like a genuine character. He's a, solid actor, so I ended up not having any problems with him either. And then you have, Jeremy Jordan as Wynn, who I think is a nice little staple in the show. He's likable enough. The whole Toyman thing was a decent episode, too. David Harwood as, Hank Henshaw, or Martian Manhunter, John Jones. I think he is very good as well. I like how they paced out, what's revealed about his character as it went. Okay, as soon as I find her name, I will talk about her. Okay, I know her name. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this all of a sudden. Anyway, but yeah, I love the first season. Let's see. Callista Flockhart as Cat Grant. She is maybe the biggest surprise to me of this season, or in the show in general, kind of. As the boss of, the news place. Why am I suddenly forgetting what it's called? Catco, excuse me. As the CEO there. She comes off just like with a stick up or what, kind of antagonistic, a bit passive aggressive at best. But really, you see kind of the method to her madness, as it goes along, with Kara. And you see the genuineness behind how she acts and how she, maneuvers people. Honestly, she still does. But really, you see she has a really, genuine heart to it. I actually loved Kara and her bond as it developed through the season. It did kind of bug me they didn't stick with her just outright knowing Kara is Supergirl. It's one of those things. If you've seen, Kara or even, Clark Kent up close, how could he not? And then he's seen Superman or Supergirl up close, just with their glasses off, how could he not recognize them? It's kind of one of those weird things. So I don't know, I kind of like going with the theory that maybe, Kat still knows, she's, and the way she talks to her, you can kind of take it as some of the lines she has as, she's kind of talking to both, sides of Kara here. But we're led to believe she doesn't actually know it's Kara anymore, that's Supergirl. So it's a bit of a stretch. But either way, I really like, how they fleshed out her character. The Sun thing was alright. I didn't really think it was necessary as like a love interest to Kara, but I think it worked for Kat. And yeah, she was a definite highlight of the season. I like the knock they had on Harrison Ford, telling Kara that he needs to stop hitting on her as because he's married to her in real life. But yeah, she is just superb in the role. I know she exits the show at some point, but I just started season 2, so I'm happy to see her for a little bit while longer anyway. And it's funny because I jumped right to season 2 premiere when I had started it quite some time ago because I'm a big fan of Katie McGrath, who I know plays Lena Luthor on the show. So I just kind of wanted to see her, and I decided, okay, I'll watch her and put up for the rest of the show. But then I felt weird, so I decided to go back and actually watch the whole first season through, get a full context and everything, and I'm so glad I did. Because now I get Katie McGrath, who's one of my favorite actresses ever, thanks to Merlin and a bunch of other work that I love. So now I get her, and I actually enjoy the rest of the show too. So I think I made the right choice watching the whole first season. She's making a really nice addition to the show so far, but we can talk about that in my season 2 video down the road. But yeah, the cast for the first season I think is really nicely put together. There's a bit of a love drama periodically, but I don't think it's as much of a fixture as it is in something like Arrow, which kind of bogged it down at times. And I just think the characters are a bit more solid, generally speaking. Anyway. I liked the whole Astra and Kara's mother storyline. I think the actress that played her was actually pretty good. It was, paced, I think, fairly well throughout the season. I almost think we kind of wanted more of them, but then again, seeing like her and Chris Vance's character Non fail more times than they did, I think would have been a bit repetitive. So I think it was paced out nicely. And speaking of, I liked Chris Vance's however you pronounce his name. And you have the assistant, the new assistant that turned into the Banshee. I liked her makeup and everything. I thought that was fine for what it was. I enjoyed Laura Vandervoort on the right there as well. And the Martian Manhunter, that it is a TV budget, so CG is a bit spotty with some of those effects, but I think it's not bad enough to take me out of it or anything. I definitely got used to it. So I think the Martian Manhunter is a good addition for the show. And I already talked about the Hank side of it too, and then you had the whole Dean Cain thing. Jeremiah finding out he's alive and such. We'll see where that goes, and I haven't heard too much about that, so I'm curious. Then of course bring in a older Supergirl from the movie, which is a nice nod, but that movie wasn't very successful or well looked on at all, so I'm a little bit surprised they actually got that actress on here. But seems to have worked. She does do a pretty good job as Kara's Earth Mother. And for some reason I don't have the actor's name, but the guy who played Maxwell Lord, which is good timing with Wonder Woman 84 coming out that I'm talking about this. I think he's pretty good. He feels like a more real character than the version we got of him in Wonder Woman 84. And I liked Wonder Woman 84, by the way, but that's not the discussion of this video. But he definitely feels like more of an actual, fleshed out character. We'll see what they do with him in the later seasons. Pretty good actor, though. Also, there's Livewire, who I kind of liked. She's been in some other things I've seen. But yeah, and some of it is still a bit on the nose. Some of the dialogue is a bit, hokey here and there, almost over the line. But I think that gets refined a bit more as the season goes along. And like I said, I got more into the show's style. I think, yes, it's more hopeful, a bit more bright, in some of these other comic book shows, not just on the CW, but compared to what the Netflix shows did, and some of the DC Universe stuff. But I think it works. It ends up feeling a bit more natural than you might expect it to. So I honestly had no problem with the tone of the show. And then the Flash episode, World's Finest, I thought was actually really enjoyable. Like I said, I never got into the Flash series. I'm just not interested in a lot of his long-term storylines for some reason, and I'm not crazy about the cast in that either. But Grant Gustin, I think, does a good job. And I do enjoy him for his guest roles when I do see him, when I was either watching Arrow or, now on Supergirl. I think he works to that capacity for me. So I enjoyed that and the friendship he and Kara build. I do hope, he appears in another solo episode of Supergirl again. We'll see. I have seen all the crossover episodes, by the way. I just kind of watched the ends of it. Yeah, well, no, I watched the crossover episodes from every show it was on, as it's went over the years. I'm not sure if I'll rewatch those again as I watch Supergirl properly or not, but either way. And of course, Supergirl's big speech at the end of the season to, bring everyone back out of zombie mode, I think was, pretty emotionally resonant for what it was. Even though, again, it tends to be a bit on the nose with that, but again, I think it works. I didn't even really flinch, once I got used to it. Nothing to really complain about. Like I said, I guess the cat son thing, at least the romance part of it, was a bit, it's one of the gripes of the season. Maybe the assistant thing wasn't the greatest, but it didn't really take up too much of the show. Besides that, I thought it was fine. Again, just little things, like the Lane, I forget what her first name is, Lucy Lane, yeah, Jimmy Olsen's ex. I didn't really think she was needed in the show. Take her out of the first season and nothing would have really been changed about it. You could have just used the father, the dad, the general guy, for everything she did besides Jimmy Olsen. But still, those are little things, and they came and went. So yeah, and it all kind of worked out into a really, really, I think, strong first season. And like I said, the best season of any of the CW shows for sure. So yeah, I honestly really loved it. I'm giving it a I'm giving it like a 8.8, 88% or 9 out of 10, somewhere in between there. So what you guys thought about the first season of Supergirl? No spoilers, please. I just started season 2. I'm excited to see Katie McGrath and another show I'm starting to really care about. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.